In this video, I'm going to show you a method I've worked out for painting Alpha Legion. I really wanted to get that colour shift chameleon look, and I'm not sure how well it shows up on the camera, but it actually looks pretty cool in real life. So over a black primer, I did a heavy dry brush of lead belcher just onto the undersides of the armour. You want to get some good coverage here, but don't worry too much about hitting the top sides. I'm going to use an airbrush for the next couple of steps, but that's just to ensure that I get a really nice thin even coat. A normal brush would work fine for this, you just have to make sure that you have let the paints down sufficiently so that you get that good thin coat. I'm just hitting the upper surfaces of the armour with Vallejo metal colour aluminium. This is going to provide a great base for that shimmering armour effect that we're looking for. Next, we're going to do a thin all over coat of Dark Angel's green contrast paint. Hardly any of this will show through to the final product, but it still helps to get that nice colour shift chameleon look. Next is a layer of Magos purple. We just want to hit the downward facing parts of the model to provide some shadow, and it's really important to keep these layers thin so that each layer shows through and we don't obscure that metallic base. The last base coat is going to be Talosar blue, and I'm just targeting the upward facing parts of the armour here. Again, being careful to apply this in really thin coats so as not to completely cover up that base and the previous layers. That's all the airbrushing done with, so let's get out the wet palette. First things first, I'm going to come in with some black paint and apply it to any of the areas that I don't want to be the colour of the armour. This step is semi-optional and quite tedious, but I think it really helps you to see which bits still need doing, and it provides a great base for subsequent colours. And I think it just really helps give a neater finish as well. You don't want to have any of that metallic showing through on the leather areas or the cloth, for example. Next, to provide some shading and definition to the armour, I'm going to panel line it with black. I'm using an oil paint that I've let down with some white spirit, because it flows off the brush better than acrylic paint and gives better coverage after one coat, meaning you don't have to keep going over the same parts, risking making a mess. I would encourage everyone to give oil paints a go for panel lining. It really is a lot quicker and easier than with acrylics. That said, an acrylic black will work fine here. Moving on to the details. I highlight any black areas like the bolter casing with Dark Reaper and Fenrisian Grey. I'm base coating any silver areas with lead belcher and then shading them with a black ink. I generally prefer using inks on metallics rather than contrast paints or shades because I just find them easier to control and they don't leave that matte finish that you can get with something like a Nuln Oil. To really make the armour panels pop, I mixed Ironbreaker, Talosar blue and a heavy body white acrylic to make an edge highlight colour. Edge highlighting these Chaos models can be a bit fiddly because of the trim around the armour plates, but just pick out all the areas that you can. After finishing off the other details with my go-to recipes for leather and cloth, and just doing some simple basing, he was all done. Overall, I'm really pleased with the chameleon armour colour, although I think I could do better next time by using thinner layers of the contrast paint to not obscure the metallic so much. I'm intrigued to see how this colour scheme would look on a bigger model like a tank or a dreadnought, but maybe that's for another video.